So let's talk about Dark Souls 2. If you've been watching my channel long enough, you know that I started this whole thing off with Dark Souls 2. Well, not actually. It was actually basketball, but I deleted those vids. But some of you may be surprised that although I started my channel with it, it wasn't my first Soulsborne game. My first Souls game was Dark Souls 1, the remastered version. But that's a story for another day. Assuming that you looked at the title of this video, you know that today, I'll be talking about why I personally think Dark Souls 2 is better than Dark Souls 3. Let's get into it. So, my thesis statement is that Dark Souls 2 is better than Dark Souls 3. Now, I want to clear the air about this. I'm not talking about the games objectively, I'm just giving my own personal opinions about this. And I also absolutely love Dark Souls 3. I'm not trying to say it's a bad game at all. In fact, I believe it's a 9+ out of 10. It's really, really good. I just think that Dark Souls 2 is better. Let's start off with my first point. Dark Souls 2 isn't a bad game. You just fucking suck. Hold on. Let me rephrase. In most, if not all Soulsborne games, we like to have a saying. Get good. When someone cannot beat a boss and they post a video of themselves raging online, the comments will at least have a few people saying, get good. Now, my argument for DS2 is that it doesn't get the same treatment. The argument against DS2's gameplay is that it's wonky and it sucks, but I heavily disagree. I mentioned earlier how my first Soulsborne game was DS1, and that game was hard. It was slow, yet it felt fast. When I got to DS2, all the enemies felt like they were moving at light speed. This was so fun for me as a new player. I hadn't had my opinions altered before I came into this game by some random person on the internet trying to project their opinion onto everyone else. I just played it with no expectations except that it would be almost as good, if not better, than DS1. But there's more to hating DS2 than just not thinking for yourself. I'm of course talking about hitboxes. Many people love to claim that the hitboxes are bad, and I've actually seen DS2 hitboxes before. They're much wider than the enemy hitboxes in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. There's two solutions for this problem in the game, and they're both extremely easy. In fact, the average person, if playing the game long enough, should come across one, if not both of these options. The first is to actually get good at the game. When you dodge in the game, you roll. Simple. But in most Soulsborne, you can literally roll into attacks and just not get hit. In DS2, they don't let you get away with that. It makes way more sense that you shouldn't be able to dodge literally into a weapon. Just dodge away. Simple as that. The other solution is maybe even easier. Just level adaptability. They literally added an in-game system for players that aren't as good. I played a majority of the game without even knowing what ADP was, never leveling it, and did just fine. On to the next point. Well, what does DS3 have over DS2? This one is simple and obvious. DS3 absolutely clears DS2 in the category of boss fights. DS2 has more boss fights, but I think they aren't near the quality of the average DS3 boss fights. And honestly, I think that's what a lot of people play these games for. The bosses, which is completely fine and respectable. Personally, I play these games because I get to live my childhood dream of using big swords and casting magic. I love the story elements in these games. Don't get me wrong, I love the bosses, but they're not the reason I play the games. I record them and make them the main point of my YouTube videos, sure, but I'm more invested in the story and lore. Speaking of lore, that's another point for DS2. By no means does DS3 have bad, mediocre, or even good lore. The lore is absolutely incredible, but DS2's lore and story is one of the best I've ever seen. It deals with a lot of philosophical meanings. Even at the end of the game, if you choose to leave the throne, it takes your character on a journey that we don't get to see. While the Chosen Undead and Ashen One become the most powerful characters in the verse, the Bearer of the Curse just leaves. He doesn't become a godlike entity. He doesn't sit on the throne and link the fire. He doesn't fight at the end of the world over something meaningless. He simply thinks and searches for an answer. His end is not a powerful one. It's not one that comes with a big boom or a crazy boss fight. His end is one that doesn't come in the form of death or certainty. It comes in the form of quietness and question. So, right now, DS2 is up 2-1 against DS3, but I want to backtrack for a second. When we were talking about bosses, I missed a key element: boss soul weapons. DS2 has by far the best weapons in the series, and when you add boss souls weapons onto that, it gets even better. DS2 for me is the most fun game to make a new build in. You've got crazy weapons like the Blue Flame, the Bewitched Alone Sword, which is what I used in my first playthrough, and the Ivory King's Ultra Greatsword. Dark Souls 3 definitely has some cool weapons, but not a single one even reaches close to the ranks that one of the weapons I just mentioned is on. fun. Now, it's time for my very last point. My final point is that DS3 lacks the creativity that DS1 and 2 brought to the table. DS2 was absolutely overflowing with soul, heart, and creativity. You can feel the love in the game, the richness of the story, and the beauty of the weapons. The NPCs in Dark Souls 2 have much sadder stories that enrich the experience of the game that you're playing. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not knocking DS3 at all. It's still an incredible game, but it has a lot of flaws, just like DS2. DS2 has more flaws than DS3, I'd say, but similar to Skyrim's crazy glitches and flaws, DS2's are more lovable. DS3 feels like it so desperately wants to hold on to the secret formula that DS1 used, and that's not a bad thing. In fact, that's why I love DS3 so much. It's kind of part of what the story is portraying. But more than I love the nostalgia from playing DS3 and remembering DS1, I love the creativity that DS2 introduced. They weren't afraid to make something completely new and different. They were adventurous and risky with this game, and that's something I'll always love about Dark Souls 2. In summary, I think that the only thing that DS3 has over DS2 is the fact that it's more polished and it has better bosses. I think DS2 is more creative, it has better weapons, it has better NPCs, it has one of the greatest stories I've ever played through, and it was never afraid to show up and show out. It was different, and that's why I love it. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out my current playthrough of Elden Ring. I know that YouTubers these days don't make a whole lot of good playthroughs besides the big YouTubers like Corey X Kenshin, but I'm here to change that. I'll put the video up at the end here, and you can go check it out if it seems interesting. Other than that, all I gotta say is thank you, like, subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts. Am I absolutely crazy? That's it. See ya.